Climate change is an acute community issue in Bangladesh because its low-lying geography worsens localized threats, compelling mass internal migration and livelihood collapse across 4 distinct regions. First of all, the first region is coastal region. Communities here struggle with extensional threats from sea level rise and intense cyclones. The key issue is salinity intrusion, which destroys fresh water sources and renders farmlands infertile. The second region is How region. These wetland communities suffer from sudden, devastating flash floods during the pre-monsoon season, which reliably wipe out the entire annual Boro rice harvest, creating immediate food and economic crisis. The third region is Chow region. Communities on these temporary river islands face constant catastrophic river bank erosion and recurrent deep flooding. Their struggle is one of perpetual land loss and forced displacement, trapping families in poverty cycles. Lastly, fourth region is Parent region. These elevated communities face intensified droughts and rising temperatures, leading to critical groundwater depletion and severe heat stress, threatening agriculture output and water security. The climate-induced problem we want to solve in our community is seasonal flooding in the How region. Every year, devastating floods destroy homes, agricultural lands, and displace families. Through our climate action classes, we learned that this is a direct impact of climate change that requires both adaptation and mitigation strategies. We chose this problem because our micro model project on the How region showed out the reality of how climate change affects water levels and ecosystem dynamics. We modeled the climate patterns and saw the vulnerabilities of our communities. Additionally, the C3ER climate resilient house visit was eye-opening. It showed us that the adaptation isn't just a theoretical concept. It's something we can actually build and implement in real communities. We want to introduce climate-resilient housing to the How region. These homes would float during floods, protecting families and their possessions. Beyond flood resilience, these homes would generate their own renewable energy through solar panels, produce food through vertical gardens, and harvest rainwater for self-sufficiency. This solution is important because it transforms vulnerability into resilience. Instead of accepting that floods will destroy our homes, we build homes that work with climate challenges. The C3ER model proved that this is possible. Our goal is to bring this innovation to our How region community, so we don't just survive climate change, we adapt and thrive through it.
I stand before you today to talk about a fire that is not coming. It is already here. It is the climate crisis, and in Bangladesh, we're not in the sidelines, we are already in the front lines. Look around you. The river that once nourished your village is now salting. The cyclone that destroyed your neighbor's home, now stronger. The unpredictable harvest your family depends on. This is not a distant future, this is your present. And that is exactly why we must talk to our youth about it. Not to scare them, but to arm them. Why? 3 urgent reasons. First, they are the ones who will face it. You, our young people, will live through the rising tides and the fiercer storms. You deserve to understand the world you are inheriting. Second, they are the ones who must lead us out. With over 1/3 of our population under 30, you are not just the future, you are now. You are the future mayors, engineers, farmers, and parents. We need your energy, your innovation, and your voice to build floating gardens, to design cyclone-resistant and flood-resistant homes, and demand actions from leaders. Third, knowledge is power and survival. Awareness turns fear into action. It teaches us how to prepare our communities, protect our health, and preserve the incredible progress our nation has made so far. It turns "why is this happening?" into "here it is, and here it is what we can do." So let us not shield our youth from this truth. Let us equip them with it. Let us put climate change into our school lessons, our community talks, and our family discussions. Let us listen to their ideas and support their solutions. Because in Bangladesh, climate awareness is not a subject, it is a survival skill. And our youth are our greatest, most powerful resource to have a livable, hopeful, and resilient tomorrow. The time for talk is over. The time for empowerment actions begins. EU 201's lesson is that sustainability is a social process before it is a technical outcome. Empathy is the compass that directs us toward genuine community engagement. And the bottom-up approach is the vehicle that gets us to solutions that are not just for the community, but of the community themselves. This transforms social problem-solving from a transactional exercise to a transformative partnership. We also learn how important it is to consider the other side and to see certain perspectives that may just differ much more than our usual ones.
The impact of our flood-resilient house project is especially significant for the flood-prone How regions of Bangladesh, where flooding is a recurring reality. From an environmental perspective, floating houses adapt naturally to rising water levels, reducing flood damage without altering land or disrupting ecosystem. Built with materials like bamboo, wood, and recycled plastic, they can be both sustainable and eco-friendly. Usually, floating houses ensure housing security during floods. Families are able to stay in their homes, reducing displacement and climate-induced migration. This helps preserve community life and social bonds even during extreme weather events. Economically, these houses lower repair and rebuilding costs after floods. They also support flood-based livelihoods such as fishing and floating agriculture, while creating local employment in construction and maintenance. Culturally, the project builds on indigenous knowledge and preserves the traditional water-based livelihood of our communities. In one line, floating houses are sustainable, adaptive, and culturally grounded a solution for flood-prone regions, if supported by proper planning and infrastructure. From the climate track classes, we learned that climate change is not only an environmental issue, but a deeply social and ethical one. The classes helped us understand how climate change disproportionately affects vulnerable communities, especially those living in flood-prone and low-income areas. Despite contributing the least to the problem, we learned about climate adaptation strategies such as floating house, resilient infrastructure, and community-based solutions, which emphasize living with nature rather than resisting it. In our floating house project for the How region, we implemented that knowledge from our climate track classes by focusing purely on climate change adaptation and resilience. Understanding the how areas experience seasonal flooding, rising water levels, and unpredictable weather patterns, the design treats water as a constant condition rather than a temporary disaster. The house was planned to float with changing water levels, reducing flood damage and the need for repeated reconstruction. Lightweight and locally available materials were considered to ensure climate responsiveness, easy repair, and flexibility during extreme weather events. Ventilation, roof shape, and elevated utility placement were designed to cope with increased humidity, heavy rainfall, and heat stress caused by climate variabilities. The project also reflects long-term climate resilience by minimizing land disturbance, allowing natural water flow, and supporting flood-based livelihoods common in How regions. Overall, the floating house design applies climate knowledge by providing a practical, adaptive response to recurring floods and climate uncertainty, helping communities remain safe and functional despite changing environmental conditions.
Our community partner C3R helped us understand how to design a house that is flood resistant, i.e., what mechanics makes a house that is self-sustaining and acts as a unit instead of just a placeholder. It made us understand how to make a house a space functionable, sustainable, and self-reliant.
I want to start by asking you to visualize where our trash goes after it leaves our hands. Picture the local landfill. It is chaotic, heaving mountains of debris. It smells of rot, of sour decay. But the real danger isn't the smell. It is what is happening underneath the surface. When we bury our waste, we create a chemical pressure cooker. Buried under layers of plastic, organic matter suffocates and breaks down, releasing methane gas. This invisible gas is a predator. It is 80 times more effective at trapping heat than carbon dioxide. It is this heat that warms our oceans. It is this heat that changes the atmosphere. And it is this heat that summons the rains that drown our cities. We are currently trapped in a tragedy of our own making. We throw our waste, the waste heats the planet, and the planet strikes back with floods that wash away our homes. But what if I told you that the very material causing this crisis, the plastic, could be the vessel that saves us? To understand how, we must look to a different culture for inspiration. We must look to Japan. In Japan, waste management is almost a spiritual ritual. If you walk into a kitchen in Tokyo, you will not see a bin overflowing with sticky, dirty wrappers. Instead, you will see a citizen standing at the sink. They are rinsing a plastic tray. They're scrubbing a sauce packet. They're peeling the label off a bottle. They place these plastics on the windowsill to dry in the sun until they're crisp and spotless. In Japan, they understand a simple truth. Dirty plastic is garbage. Clean plastic is a resource. We are going to bring this Japan model of discipline to our community. We are going to teach every children and every parent that the first step to fighting the flood happens at the kitchen sink. We must wash, we must dry, we must segregate. Why is this dryness so important? Because if we trap moisture or food inside a bottle, it rots. It releases gas. It creates a bomb. But if we pack clean, dry plastic, we create something permanent. This brings us to the transformation. Once we have our clean, sun-dried plastic, we take a clear PET bottle. We take a bamboo stick and we begin to pack. we take the wrappers, the bags, the styrofoam, the very things that used to clog our drains, and we ram them into the bottle. Layer by layer, we compress it until the bottle screams. We pack it until it is as solid as a keen-fired brick. This is the eco brick. It is a secret weapon against the climate crisis. Because it is a sealed vessel filled with lightweight plastic and trapped air, it has incredible buoyancy. And this is our vision for the future. Imagine a house in a flood zone, but instead of a concrete slab pouring into the mud, the foundation is a honeycomb. Beneath the floorboards lies a raft made of thousands of these eco-bricks bound together with silicone and wire encased in a protective mesh. It looks like a normal home, but when the skies open up, when the river bursts its bank and the brown water comes rushing through the village, something miraculous happens. The house does not crumble, the foundation does not crack. As the water rises, the house rises. The buoyancy of thousands of recycled bottles lifts the structure, keeping the family inside dry and safe. We are building floating sanctuaries. This solution is elegant in its circularity. We stop the plastic from going to the landfill, which stops the methane, which fights climate change. Then we take the same plastic to build a raft that protects us from the floods that climate change has already caused. We are taking the debris of our past mistakes and turning it into the foundation of our future survival. It requires work, it requires the discipline to wash, to dry, and to pack. But the reward is a future where we don't fear the rain. We are taking the best of Japanese waste management and combining it with local ingenuity to turn our pollution into our protection. Let's wash, let's pack, and let's float. Thank you.